I'm so pleased to be with you again. Over the last few days, I've had an opportunity to talk with people in several parts of the country who tell me that they are part of this gathering that we have around this video communication weekly. I don't know how many of us there are. It may be that you and I and a very small company meet. Maybe we could all fit in one small room. I don't know. Or maybe we're a large group. I have no idea. I only know that I look forward to my visits with you, and I cherish the prospect that you look forward to the visit as well. I'm reading these days in the book of Job, and maybe it's not the right word to use, but I'm enjoying it. I always marvel at the sheer beauty of the book of Job. A great literary scholar of another generation said that the book of Job was the most beautiful book ever written. I can see why a person might say that. It is full of majestic language. It is, of course, the story of a soul in the midst of unbelievably stressful, defeating, dispiriting circumstances, who nevertheless holds out until the end. We speak, therefore, often of the patience of Job. And I think the word presents a bit of a problem to us, because when you and I talk about patience, we're generally speaking about patience at the simplest day-by-day, moment-by-moment expression, as when we get impatient at a stoplight, or when we are impatient when we're going through a checkout counter at the store, or impatient in the restaurant if they haven't served our food as quickly as we think they should. We measure patience at these really quite trivial levels. But what we're talking about here in the story of Job is the quality of godly patience. This is the kind of patience that involves really character and lifetime matters of conduct. And that's what we're talking about here in Job's holding out patiently before God. I want you to see, however, early, that his patience with people was not that dramatic. To the contrary, Job was quite irritated, upset, and I might even say disgusted with the way people were working with him, namely those three good friends that were coming, presumably, to comfort him and stayed in order to condemn and to argue with him. And so here are a couple of the ways that Job responds to those friends. In Job chapter 12, he says to them, "No doubt you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these?" That is, the things that you tell me. Job is saying right flat out, with a bit of delightful sarcasm, when you die, I know that'll be the end of wisdom. But then he goes on to say, I'm just as smart as you are. And then again, I hear him here in chapter 16 saying to his friends, after they had given him another lecture, he answered, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. They were miserable comforters indeed, not giving him the help that he really so much needed and so much really deserved. He continues in that mood as he complains that they ought to be more patient with him. They ought to be sympathetic with his circumstances, and they ought indeed to hold steady for him. But he says, my problem is this. I can't get the audience with God that my soul needs. Job feels confident that if only he can get a hearing from God, if only God will meet him, then he'll be able to make his case and he'll be satisfied. I don't know that Job is utterly certain that in making his case he will be justified before God, though I think his feelings were rather strong at that point because he had tried so hard to be a good and godly man. But one thing he wanted above all else, and that was to get his hearing with God. So he held on for that, held on through interminable problems of so many kinds, devastation of his body, loss of his family, the abolition of his wealth, the disregard of friends and family and kin. And yet he held to this. If only he could make his case with God. That's all he wanted. Well, he got that. He got his appearance with God. And it was all he needed. And he was restored and more than restored. That's Job and his patient holding on to his passion for God. That's what's on my mind today, and I'm glad I have a chance to talk it over with you. Thanks, and God bless.